Good morning, good afternoon to everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm very happy to see that so many of you are joining today's call. So we are happy to open the new cloud coaching season with a security session. So today you will see a demo on the OCI monitoring capabilities and how they can be integrated with your third-party SIEM platform in order to actually increase the responsiveness of security attacks. I am Violeta. Together with me, there is Olaf, your presenter for today's session. We have also Flavius, who is here to respond to your questions. And of course, my colleague Tom. We are all here to help you and to answer all your questions. And of course, to guide you during this webinar. All right, so speaking about who we are, I am Violeta. I'm a digital adoption manager for live events in Oracle EMEA. I'm joined in Bucharest. Today, I'm joined by Olaf, who will be your presenter. Olaf is a cloud security advisor within Oracle EMEA. And there is also Flavius Sana, who is here to help as panelist. I think that was all on my side. I would like to pass over to Olaf now.
Okay, thank you very much, Violeta.
You're
And good welcome for everybody who joined, and thank you for Flavius for being my Q&A buddy here. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, today I show you only one slide because it tells you everything, and I keep that diagram as a reference during my presentation, during my demo as well. So in general, the Oracle OCI user guide has a section for cloud adoption, and in that section we have a reference architecture for the SIEM integration. The SIEM integration is of course required because you need to know what's happening in your environments, including your on-premises environments and also your cloud environments, no matter whether it's Oracle or someone else. To integrate everything that happens with Oracle Cloud resources, we have different ways to provide information. The most interesting here is the audit log that records every API call, and even a OCI console access is a number of API calls, and we see that pretty soon. In addition to that, in the previous session, I presented CloudGuard as a secure posture management tool to have detections and remediations for that. These events should show up in your SIEM environment as well, and I will show you how to integrate these with your SIEM environment. A small caveat here, I'm not promoting any third-party tool here. I'm just simulating that to make sure that no one is upset with that and no one has the idea that we promote any third-party vendor here. Okay, so let's dig deep into the live version as well. Violeta, can you stop sharing the screen, please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much. So, yes, from my previous session, you already know my tendency. So there's a number of things in there. This time we are concentrating on events and log files and sending these to other environments. So the first thing that we do, and that covers actually that branch here, is how to create events, how to work with events, and how to redirect them to your third-party system. There are many ways to do that, and we cover them all. Okay, so before we send out something as from an event that happened, we need to create a notification. A notification is like a queue or a topic, and that is actually the real name for it. You create a topic. This topic has an endpoint from the event type of view, and also targets where we send the data to, or the event data to. The event data is actually a CNCF cloud event structure, and you will see one quickly. So I created a topic, and the targets are actually two of them. One is an email, just to see what's happening, and the other one is a function. A function is a serverless setting that can be developed in a specific language, in the language you like, for example, Python, Java, Go, you name it. This one actually is a very easy function. It just forwards the data to a target. So the target is actually defined here. It's not hardwired because I'm too lazy for hardwiring and changing it all the time. So we use a configuration for that. I will show you in a bit how that works. But first of all, work with the email. So the email is something that you can create. You can create a subscription. So the usual publish subscribe scheme follows here. You have several options to do that. Email is very easy to do, but if it goes to a generic email address mailing list, then you really annoy all the participants of that email list. You have other ways. Function, that is something that I showed you below. You can have a custom URL, HTTPS, with a well-known certificate authority, a PagerDuty, Slack, or just text messages. We use email or function for today, but all the others work well as well. Okay, so I created already two of them. And yeah, I cannot edit this. This is a pain, but it's not okay, not that bad. We just can easily delete this and recreate this. For each topic, you have a number of metrics to see how much data has been sent. Yeah, it has been a bit lazy this time. So here you see I've already sent some data, so that shows you what it works. That can be much more the more data you send to it. Okay, good. So that's the topic, the queue that sends the data. Now we need to define an event. Events actually are rules for an event service. So you can create a rule in a specific compartment. This event I do on the root compartment because I want to catch events that are somewhere in the tenancy. You see other ones, these are actually done from a Terraform template that is called the Quick Start Landing Zone, that just focuses on other topics here. Okay, our specific topic is for specific rules. For example, interactive login. So when someone logs into the console, we get a notification through the topic, and also for other things like that one. I delete this one because that is actually the one for the CloudGuard that we do later. So that is the detection. You can specify the attributes you're looking for, or just everything, and how to filter. So you can define filtering on each event for specific events you want to cover. For demonstration purposes, we just take care of everything, so that is fine. Actions are actually what should be done once the event happens. So you can select the type, for example, send it to streaming, or to notifications, or to functions. Functions is something we use in the notifications here, so it's a step further, and then we can go ahead. Streaming is actually when we go back to our environment, just leave it in here, to that picture. It could be sent an event directly for streaming without a function interfering with it. But on the other hand, the function can be used to modify the data to a format that the third party understands. Okay, so that is that. You select a compartment where the stream is available and so on. We show the streaming later. Sorry. Good. So we saw a number of event registrations. You can add additional events. For example, where is identity? Identity or identity sign-on, and you select the add event type. For example, if someone wants to change the password, reset the password, or have a federated interactive login. Actually, this tenancy is for the tenancy types that still use federated IDCS. With identity domains, this will be different because we don't have a federated login anymore, and that event type will go away. Okay, let's run this and see how it works with a real user logging into that. For that, I've prepared, of course, a test user, a local test user. And yes, it's a really boring name, and it's a user that I will, of course, delete after that demo. I log into that, and yes, I am in. I can do something in here or not. See, well, yeah, it's loading, but actually it should not show me any permissions. Okay, I have to select that one. I cannot drill down, so that is actually a user with no permissions at all. Good, let's sign out to that and see, and let's check my mail. I check my mail and I got a new mail with an interactive login event type. Identity sign-on is the source. My test user logs in with the tenancy. The compartment name is actually the root compartment name of the tenancy. Here is a replay of that and something else. And that really shows where a function can work with the details or with the data. It is, for example, not really necessary that you have a referrer token in your SIEM system, so a function can really drop it off or just use the data that you really need. For example, here's the event time that we use. Okay, that is fine. But this is email. Email is someone sitting behind that. We want to have it integrated with a real system. So let's try that again with a simulator. And for that, I'm logging into a VM and setting up, a endpoint, which is with Netcat. You can easily simulate the endpoint and also use it for checking the connectivity, for checking whether everything works fine, and then apply the settings to your SIEM. Okay, let's do this again. Log in again. And to verify that something happens, we still get the email. Okay, I'm logging in. And yeah, still cannot do anything, of course. And here I have the event, which is, sorry, again, interactive login, identity sign-on, the time. And let's see whether I get the new mail on that. So mail is a bit slower than it. And here we have the mail again. So that's 10:21. So very similar. Let's compare that. Very similar to that event as well. One thing that you will notice here, that is a event type format, that is the cloud events. It will be different, especially when it comes to the data for other purposes. I will show you when it comes to the other part of that. Okay, so email and the endpoint work pretty well. Connectivity works brilliant. Actually, this is a different VM in a different tenancy, but again, that works pretty well. Good. So let's get rid of that one. And here we see that we have other object types or event types. For example, object store, create, delete, do something in the environment. Okay, so we have a bucket already. For example, in a secure environment, of course, the data stored in here should be secure and it contains sensitive data. Well, okay, there's already something in there. Well, that looks like a mind map, which is not really secure. So let us delete that. Okay, let's wait for the mail again. Again, the simulator is not running yet, but the email service is still configured. Come on, do that. Yeah, sorry for the delay. Mail is sometimes a bit slow. Okay, what will that do? It will actually tell me that something happened. Okay, while we wait, oh, there it is, already there. Here you see different style of the event. Let me show you the other one for comparison. So you see the data part is always changing and containing different information. Here I noticed that something has been deleted and the resource ID that has been deleted. Okay, that is very useful if someone wants to tamper with your sensitive data and you get a notification on that. Okay, let's delete that one. Get rid of that one, get rid of that one. Now, if someone else tries to upload something, of course, well, we can do that with object store. You may already know how it works. If I use a slash in here, then I kind of create a structure, which is also shown as a structure on the screen, on the user interface. Oh, come on, use the same file, and then upload this. If I don't use a slash in the prefix, then it will be just prefix the name. Let's close it. Here you see we have a structure, looks like, but at the end it's very much like a creation. Okay, it's a single structure. Sign-on simulator is not running yet, and I have been thrown out because of inactivity. Okay, let's go again. Let's see. Mail, please, Mr. Mail, Mr. Postman. Okay, mail has been arrived. Again, object creation. You see the resource name, and this slash is part of the resource name. It's not a directory structure in object store. Okay, let's see whether the simulator gets the delete event. Again, and whether that follows with the mail as well. Yes, here's the delete object. Connectivity still works. Here we see the path that we, quote to quote, that we use. The resource name itself is actually looks like a path, but it's not, it's just a single name. And finally, where's my mail? There it is. Again, the same data we get here, but pretty printed, and here it's just a single line for that. So that is very good. And now we go back to that one, to that picture. So we have covered this already, but we don't have the CloudGuard events. So CloudGuard events are, well, great because they do a number of things for us. They detect problems, and this is really good. We need this for security. So let's modify the event rule to cover that. Okay, we are in the different compartment. And since CloudGuard is in the root compartment configured as a best practice to cover your whole tenancy, the event type, the event rule must be in the root as well. So we have the service CloudGuard. One thing in here, data safe, if you monitor your databases using data safe and alerting, you can use that as well. But that will be a different session. Okay, with CloudGuard, specific event types. So announcement, status, problems dismissed, problem threshold reached, remediation done automatically, but detection is always good. We can also add remediation as well as a part. CloudGuard detector event, remediated, added to that. Okay, so detection is a bit challenging, therefore we just have to wait for it and see whether that happens during the course. Okay, that is actually the events, and in here we have that structure. Again, functions can be used for modifying the data, for transforming it, but be aware that modifying the data may cause some regulation issues because you're kind of tampering with the data. The other part, which is very similar to that, is actually the audit logs, the service logs, or custom logs. Custom logs are application logs that you can use, but service logs and audit logs are OCI related, and you want to understand what's happening. They give a bigger picture, and with the service connector hub and the particular connectors, we define what is actually happening. Before we drill down into these, we need to go to the logging service. So the logging service is actually our starting point for understanding what's happening. Of course, you have a console window in here, and well, that is something I just did. You can drill down in these as well, but you have to switch screens. And if your SOC team is actually monitoring a dashboard for all the systems, switching between screens or different applications is actually challenging. So we have safe search, of course, for convenience, you can use later. We have logs and log groups. Log groups combine the logs and therefore are the starting point for that. I've created a demo log group for this purpose here, but there's also a standard one. It's the audit log. The audit log covers everything. So when we click on that, everything that is happening in here, okay, you see I have been logged in as well. Come on, where is the other one? It's not that here. Oh yes, past 15 hours, 15 minutes. We should see my other user. Yes, here it is. We see what's happening. It's just by looking at it, we see that something is not possible for that user and something is happening. Okay, good. So audit logs, pretty useful information. We need to send this as well to the SIEM. So in here, audit log or service logs through the logging service. Then go with it to the system. Let's go to the log group again. What we have here configured are the logs. You create custom logs or service logs, Custom logs, again, are application logs, while service logs are specific to OCI services. For example, whatever, event services, functions, integrations, object store, and so on. It's not covering everything because these are then events.
Olaf?
Okay, yes, please.
Sorry for interrupting. There is somebody in the call who asked us to explain again the need of the simulator and if it's necessary for getting the email. Can you please go back and explain again about it?
Oh, yes, of course, of course. So,
thank you.
Let's go back to my email rule. Let's do it in here. No, it's actually the topic. Yes. So when I catch an event, I have to do some actions and I have to send them. So for example, notifications, I send them, actually, let's just simulate this, to that topic that I have created here. And in the topic, I'll work with that. The topic itself in the notifications is just configured to do whatever happens when an event comes in. It can be email. I can remove that email, but for the demo purposes, to show that something actually happens, the email is good. It's always the easiest way to get events, notifications. The function itself that I showed you here is sending data to an endpoint. The endpoint that we use here is a URL that we provide, and the URL is actually the endpoint of your target, i.e. the SIEM environment. I use the simulator, which is just a single netcard listing on that port, to act like the endpoint of your SIEM system. It is not a replacement. It's, first of all, for debugging. Does the connectivity work? Yes, it works. Perfect. Then we can continue with the integration with the SIEM system using the specific requirements for that. One thing I didn't show, although I showed the code, is not how I configured that one in here. That is necessary for the understanding. So in the function, you have a configuration where you can define the key and the value for it. I can define some other key with some other value and add it. But if the function does not check this, it doesn't matter. So you can define whatever you want as long as the function, and we see it here, really reads it. So the function itself will send out to any endpoint listening at the URL. It doesn't matter whether it's the simulator, so the netcat command here that I use here. By the way, the endpoint IP is actually the one that we use in here. And that is the port. Here is the port, and that is the public IP. And that's what we get here. Actually, you see that here again. That is the target that I sent the topic to. And of course, it's just HTTP, which is not safe. And it's no authentication yet in there. With authentication, for example, I would create a user, me, and a password. For example, or a specific key, which maybe is something else. And then the function can use that information to authenticate against the target. Of course, for this demo, there is no authentication in here, and for the demo purposes and for the debugging of the connectivity, this is pretty good, because you just want to check whether the target system is reachable. Nothing to implement here because NC is a Linux command and works out of the box. But if you want to have authentication and a real SIEM system, you should, of course, use that required settings. I hope this answers the question. Okay, good. Let's go back to logging. Okay, we saw the logging already. We see it again. Something, yeah, well, get application succeeded. It's still logging. So I'm doing something in here, and that will be logged. We see that in the audit log as well. Get application. Yes, here's the user. And I also can drill down and see the contents of the event that will be sent, or the data that will be sent out. It is different than the event data, that it's following the same format and therefore pretty useful for that. You can export the log data. You can also use an OCI CLI call to get everything, but this is manual. I don't want to do it manually. I want to do it in a log group with a value that is really working. Where is my log group? Yeah, that is for the logging in here. Oh no, actually I want to do it there. For the demo, I want to send this for a service connector. For example, the logs that I gather here, these are special service logs. Again, I pick a service that I can use, service object store, for example. Yes, that is part of the compartment. Where is the service related? Oh my God, there it is. And then I pick that service, configure that type, log name, etc., and we'll create this. Already done. Okay, so that is the service log, but how do I get the audit log? Let's see. First of all, what do I do with the log group? Actually, I send this to a service connector. Okay, service connectors are maybe stored in a compartment. I do this in here, in a security compartment, because there are some additional restrictions to modify these, and I want to monitor that. Okay, one thing that I created already is logging using a function. So we use this source connection of the log group that we already specified and the target of a function, connectivity, much the same as the events. When I want to create a new connector, then I'm able, well, I have to give it a name, of course, and provide a description. I'm not very good with descriptions, so bear with me. We can select the source, logging, for example, and select the target. Well, functions or notifications or streaming. Object source to store it locally, notifications to send it through a topic as well, or put it into logging analytics, which is a native logging style for that. Let's do streaming. Here you see the picture. There's something already set up. Logging is configured. Tasks, optional tasks that you can do once the data comes in. But first of all, select the logging as well. Well, actually, I want to have that one. And select the audit log. This is the general audit log, and this is pretty useful to gather everything that is audited in the OCI compartment, in the tenancy. You can create a where clause And here you see the query syntax. And actually this, well, I was pretty busy today. This improved. You see how many log records you will get once you send this out. And you can restrict this. For example, select the service name that is in there. Well, where it is. For example, for identity, select the type and also create additional filters. So, yes. Where's the user create? This is for local users. It's not for users that are federated. So, for example, I would create that and, well, no log records because no one created a user in here. Actually, I get rid of that because I don't like it. And then, of course, the target. No, actually, that is the task. Sorry for that. That is the task that we have here. And here you can define some function to work with the data. Again, coding. For example, transforming it to the target format. Very common that we for that. And then the target, finally, for example, we select a stream where we stream the data into. Can be somewhere else. Oh, we already choose the stream as a target already. So yeah, it can be somewhere else and it can be a different stream. Okay, how are we doing with timing? So that is that. For streaming, we need to create such a stream first. That is important. Streams are actually a hosted environments. So you see Kafka in here, it's a hosted Kafka connection. For Kafka itself, a stream pool is good to use. And then you can use the pool, have a stream in there, or have, oh, come on, it should be in here. No, it's not. Get automatic Kafka settings. The topics in here. The settings for it as listener that uses that one, here are the detailed information. Of course, username and OCID are important here because we have a common endpoint and we need to decide where to look at. The auth token itself is a kind of a password that we use in here. And that password you really create in your user settings with the auth token. For example, you generate one. Kafka, generate the token. Well, that is important. You can do it during the creation only, and you cannot keep it later on. Okay, we don't care for that. So we have two ways in here. We can use the stream. We can use a function to send this out. Going back to that environment, we can use the stream. Also, we can do pipelines of streams where we connect one stream to the other and then write the things in there. And at the end, have some functions in there, or have a function as the target of a stream, and then not using Kafka, but going directly to the third party. And that is actually the way how I showed this with the simulator, the NC for the network connectivity debugging. Okay, this is more or less it. Are there any open questions?
Nope, I don't see any, Olaf.
Nothing for now.
Good. So thank you for joining this presentation. I hope it was useful. I guess I can hand over to Violetta.
Let's see if there are questions. I see somebody has a question. Olaf, would you like to, or Flavius, would you like to answer it live?
Sure.
Okay, it's about Oracle
actually,
Integration Cloud.
Yes, of course. I guess that is just a statement, and Flavius
Yeah,
is already typing an
Flavius
answer.
taking it. Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
Integration Cloud is a good fit as well. Can be used for any integration anyway, and but it's a separate environment. You have to set it up. It's not natively integrated in the cloud infrastructure. It's a PaaS service with additional environment setup, but of course with additional security involved in here as well.
Thank you, Olaf. I see somebody is asking on chat the slides, about the slides. So they will be posted on public Slack channel under the DevRel workspace on EMEA Cloud Coaching channel. And of course, if you would like to get it via email, just use the email address you see on the screen, reply to us, and we will share it back to you. All right, let's see if we have other questions. No, nothing new.
The only other one, excuse me, the only other one,
sure.
And Olaf, you mentioned that we should raise this if no one did, was the cost. So did you want to explain a little bit on the cost?
Good point.
That is actually a tricky one, because every traffic that will be sent out to a target system, to a non-Oracle Cloud system, every other thing that will be sent out of the tenancy will be recorded for billing. If you store the events in an object store, for example, for later use, the storage that you will be use will be used as well. Streaming costs has a cost tag as well. It is actually by the gigabytes or something like that. And so if you consider a solution to integrate with your SIEM, then you should be checking the price first and see what will be the most cost-effective solution for that. By the way, functions will cost you something as well, and there are specific implications on the reliability. Whether streaming is more reliable. Kafka especially is quite fast on that, whereas functions may have a latency.
All right, thank you, Olaf. Good information. All right, so I see no other questions. I would like to then conclude the call and say thank you all for attending the call. Thank you, Olaf and Flavius, for presenting to us and for answering questions. Guys, for everyone in the call, if you have further questions or if you require information from our side, feel free to reach out on Slack or via email. We are here to help you and to guide you whenever you need. All right, thank you all and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.